get to know what makes the medieval period substantial. This phase in the history of philosophy approximately stretches from 400 ACE or after Common Era to 1500 ACE. There are two identifiable sub-periods in the medieval stage. The earlier and the later stage of medieval period are also represented by these two philosophers, Saint Augustine and Saint Thomas Aquinas. Among these two philosophers, Saint Augustine represents its earlier stage, while Saint Thomas Aquinas represents its later stage. Today, you will know what is the common theme of the medieval period. Is there any difference between the earlier and the later stage of medieval thought?
Generally, medieval period is labeled as theocentric, which means theo or God conditions the very foundation of its discussion. For instance, a philosopher cannot simply talk about human nature without connecting it to the reality of God. The creation of the world, as another example, should not miss or forget the relationship between the created world and God as the creator. These are lines of reasoning that permitted the thinking horizon of philosophers in the medieval age. The concern for God also explains why medieval thinking explored these two interests, faith and reason. But what is faith and what is reason? What is the relationship between the two?
I am the one who proposed that the reason rule is simply knock on the door of faith, hoping and anticipating that it will understand what faith is all about.
In the early phase of medieval thought, there was a radical separation between faith and reason. Saint Augustine, for instance, although reason desires to know, it does not comprehend what lies behind the door of faith.
Simply put, the domain of faith is substantially different from the workings of reason. Consequently, it is faith which is more important than reason.
This is generally the thinking trend of the early phase of medieval philosophy.
I demonstrated that reason is a stepping stone towards faith. I propose in the argument from the design of the universe that there is a divine architect who plans the structure of the world, whom is God.
By concluding that God is the overall architect of the universe, Saint Thomas successfully depicts the strong bond between reason and faith. Thus, understanding God begins with how we experience and comprehend the world through human faculty of reason. In this way, Saint Thomas presents reason as constitutive in the strengthening of our faith. In your opinion, is reason more important than faith, or reason is more relevant than faith?
The group of merchants are hoping that somehow the medieval period and its efforts help you understand how they make sense to nature or the reality about God. Now, is faith more important than reason, or is reason more relevant than faith? The answer relies on your hands.